Who's your emergency contact? Who should notify in case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I've spent the last 2+ decades of my life. Through the course of these episodes, these videos, I'm taking through the course of my bid. But not only that, at the same time, I want to share with you things that happen around the system. You know, I emphasize that when you go into the penitentiary, it's a war zone. You're literally behind enemy lines. And I don't say that to be cliche or to put any extras on it, but it's what it is. You're behind enemy line. Everybody in there is to a certain extent dangerous. You know, the penitentiary, the United States Penitentiary, is reserved for influential people and people that are prone to violence more than the norm. You know, some people ask me if there's dudes in there that can do their own time. For the most part, yeah. But no matter who you are, you're going to fall into a certain category. If you're white, you're going to run with the whites. Then the whites gets broke down to all the different gangs that exist in the system. The ones from Utah are SAC, Soldier of Aryan Culture. You got the AC, Aryan Culture. You got the NLR. You got the Brand. You got the Dirty White Boys. So on and so forth. Same thing with the Mexicans. When you go in there, the most, as far as numbers go, and even strength, and even dangerous, the most dangerous Mexican group is not in any particular order, but in my experience, it's the Black Hand. And then it's the TS and the Texas EME down to the Norteños. I mean, if you ask me what are the most dangerous Mexican groups, those are the first ones that come to mind. That's not to take away anything from anybody else. You know, when it comes to black, out on the West Coast, it's the Crips and the Bloods. The DC, they're everywhere. Everywhere you go, they're always a formidable group. You know, I say these things to emphasize that we are behind enemy line. Not only do you have the racial tensions between black, whites, Mexicans, but you have all the different gangs in between. When it comes to racial tension, everybody goes to their corner. The Mexicans, even though they don't like each other, but if they're going to war with blacks, they're all going to come together. Just same with the blacks. Even though everybody's broke down from different gangs and different region, when it comes to a war with another race, they're all going to come together. So when you ask me, can somebody just do their own time? Not really. Because no matter who you are, no matter if you're a gang member or independent, you fall into one of these categories. And when you fall into these categories and your group gets into a confrontation with another group, you have no choice but to go unless you want to be a sitting duck. Because if a black person gets into with a white dude and some white guy or some black guy is like, oh, I'm not involved. I'm not a gang member. I don't run this or don't run that. I just do my own time. Well, the other race, the opposition, is not going to ask if you're affiliated or not. They just see it's black on white or white on black. So they're just going to turn around and look at a black dude. The white guy is going to see a black dude and hit him, vice versa. So in a penitentiary, there is no doing your own time. Everybody's affiliated, even me. I'm Asian, Islander, Cambodian, but we ourselves have our own car. We're not labeled as a DG, which is a disruptive group. We're not recognized as a dangerous group or anything like that, because our coalition is mixed. We have Laos, Vietnamese, Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, Hawaiian, Tongans, Samoans, Fijians, and down the list. But if I'm on a yard and one of my homeboys gets into with another group or another race, I cannot sit back and put my hands up and say, no, I'm not involved. Because that would leave me, stop it, that would make me a victim. Because those guys are not going to say, oh, Mesa's cool, he don't run with these dude or run with that dude. He's just going to say, Mesa's an Asian Islander, and they're at war with the Asian Islander, or it's popping off with them. They're coming. Just like the story that I shared with you. My homeboy Dewey, my homeboy Lance, they're just like, ain't nothing going on, man. Don't worry about it. It's out there. Well, they learned the hard way. They got their ass lumped up. Fortunately, they were a good-sized dude and knew how to fight and was able to fight their way out. But if I didn't mention in the other videos at that time, the Native American that was in, the Native bro that was in the unit with him, and I apologize, I forgot his name, helped him, jumped in. We have an alliance with him. He did what he was supposed to do. You know, so going forward, stop it. Going forward, the story I want to share with you today is the war between the Texas EME and the Piasas. It's an ongoing war, even till this very day, right now. It jumped off in Victorville. They had a couple of homies. You know, before when I went in, you know, they're all Mexicans. And they all hung out together at a point in time. And there was a couple of them that were good friends. A dude named Chain and a dude named Gumby from the Texas EME. They were hanging out, drinking with a Piasa. You know, they were friends. But when they got drunk, the Piasa started tripping over the money that one of them dudes owed him. And they started talking shit and got aggressive. You know, the Texas EME told him, hey, kick back, chill out. But, you know, they're under the influence of alcohol. So the Piasa called out one of their dudes and ended up getting his ass beat. Some people can't take an ass whooping. So when he got his ass beat, instead of saying, nah, that was a personal beef, that was one-on-one, and allowed him to squash it, he left the room and went and told his people that the two Texas EME that was in the cell drinking with him jumped him. Now, to every story, there's always three sides to a story. There's his side, the other guy's side, and the truth. I don't know what the truth is. But sharing this story with you, before I even shared it, I asked permission from one of my homies that's the Texas EME. You know, because when I met up with him through the course of my bid, we were in a Lompoc together. But when I ended up in Beaumont, every time a Piasa came off the bus, the TS and the Texas Mexican Mafia was butchering them, you know? And I'm like, what happened? He goes, oh man, they took off on my peoples over there in Victorville. So, but when it comes to the Piasa car, they're not an organization. You know, they're Piasa through circumstances. A lot of them are farmers. A lot of them are mules. They're not mobbed up. They're not part of their cartel. They were out, you know, but somehow they got themselves caught up, end up in prison. And in prison, if you're Mexican, it's hard to be an independent Mexican. If you're on a Sereno yard, you're going to be on a Sereno time, or they're going to smash you. When you go to one of them California yard, you're either going to ride it in the Serenos or ride it in the Piasas. There's no ifs and ands. You know, I've got a story with one of my buddies. from RU, from Raza United. He went somewhere and refused to get on count with the Piasa, and his own people, his other homies from Raza United, smashed him out and almost killed him. We might not agree with the politics, you know, and it's fucked up, but this is the reality of what's going on behind that wall. You have a lot of homies that come out here in Utah that are from Mexican gangs that are homegrown out here in Utah and never been to the feds and and don't have no clue what's going on. And when they get there, they get a rude awakening. I'll share some of those stories through the course of my videos at a later time. But right now we're focusing on the Texas EME. You know, one thing about these families, they call them families. The TS, Texas EME, Norteños, Tango Blast, Pistoleros. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But the ones that I've been around are the Black Hand and the Sereños. I've been on yards with the TS, with the Texas EME, with the Piasas, and with Norteños. These are organized. These are organization. These are families. These are people that has committed their lives to this. Whether you agree with it or not, however you feel about it, these men has committed their lives to this. And to be part of these organizations, they've been dragged through the ringer. They have to prove themselves. I know back in the 90s, you guys seen that movie Blood In, Blood Out. It's not something you just say because it sounds good. It's literally blood in, blood out. You know, for me, I have a saying, it's blood in, no outs. Once you sign up to these things, once you sign up to one of these families, once they open that book up for it and put your name in there, that's till the grave. And some people, when they go into the penitentiary, they sign up, whether it's for protection or convenience, but they haven't really bought in. And then one day when they wake up, they decide they don't want to do this no more, they find out that they can't just walk away. You know, when you sign up to these different organizations, it's not just you. You're signing up your whole family, your whole lineage to this. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that there's been stories where whole families been wiped out because somebody failed to do their part or somebody tried to walk away. Anyway, you know, the war with the Texas EME started in 2007 against the Piasas. There's been injuries. There's been stabbings from both sides. But as far as I know, the Texas EME is pretty much on the winning side. They haven't had any of their brothers killed. They've had their brothers stabbed up. They've had them lumped up. But they haven't had any deaths on their side. But the Piasas, they killed one in Three Rivers. Or maybe I've got it wrong. I got it right here in front of me. But they killed one in McQuirk in the East Coast. But not only in the feds right now, the Texas EME and the Texas Syndicate, they have an alliance. So now when the Texas EME went to war with the Piasas, the Texas Syndicate went to war with them. When I was in Beaumont, they took turns hitting the Piasas. Every time a Piasa came off the bus, this time would be the Texas EME butchering them. The next time, it was the TS. And on it went. But the difference between the TS, the Texas Mexican Mafia, and the Piasa is that the TS and the Texas EME are structured, while the Piasas are not. Like I told you, a Piasa is just a coalition of dudes from Mexico and anybody else that gets put under their umbrella. Because over the course of these years, it's been, what, 15 years that the war has been going on, the Piasa's been wanting to call peace inside of the penitentiary. But the Texas EME is not going to do it because the Piasas have no structure. They don't have one person or a council that is recognized by all the other Piasas throughout all the different penitentiaries and the feds. So yeah, they get on this yard and this Piasa say, man, we're good. We don't want any trouble. But when one of their brothers, a TS or a Texas EME, might hit another yard, well, that Piasa group is run by somebody else, and he might not recognize the other guy's authority. So the Texas EME, from their perspective, is that they can never call it peace because the Piasas have no organization, no structure where one dude is respected or where a group of dudes is respected. So if they make the call throughout the board, that everybody's going to recognize it and accept it. Whereas opposed to the TS or the Texas EME, they're structured, well organized, have a solid line of communication. When word gets out that, hey, we're going to war with these people, every one of their members is going to go to war with that prospective group. Vice versa. If they say, hey, we spoke, everything's cool, it's peace, they're all going to respect it. You know, the purpose of this episode is I've had some questions on my YouTube. Can somebody just go to the penitentiary and do their own time? Short answer is no. No matter who you are, you fall in line, you fall into a category. Black, white, Mexican, Asian, Islander, others, whatever you want to call it. If you're not a gang member, you're from a certain state, Texas, California, New York, Midwest, so on and so forth. So there's really no doing your own time. Everybody's affiliated. And if you want to survive the penitentiary, you better go when that bell rings. Because if you don't, like I've shared with you before, a lot of times it's not the opposition, it's not another race or another gang that butchers you. It's the people in your own group because you're not doing your part. You have to understand when you become a part of a coalition, part of a car, a gang, a group, there's safety in it under the umbrella. But there's no free pass in the penitentiary. You get all the benefits of being under the umbrella as far as protection, doing your time, and people recognizing you affiliated with this group. So you get the benefits from it. So when you're benefiting from it, the people in that group is going to expect you to help with carrying the weight, help putting in the work, help with the dirty stuff. And if you refuse, time and time again, I've shared with you, if you refuse, you become the victim. Welcome to the USP.